later on a Friday, not Friday, Monday, it's Monday. Friday's my next day off. I think that's why it's in my head right now. But later on Monday, worked all day. It's been a bit of a grab bag, and that's not the only reason I'm using that as the title. But it is sort of one of the fun ones. Like, I've had customers that were jerks today. I've had really fun customers today. I think my honest to God favorite from today was there was a family that were just looking for somewhere to eat. And there are usually 3 places I advise people to go. One that's right nearby, one that's got patio seating on the water, which is a lot of people are looking for that. They want to eat on the river. And then sort of my preferred one, which does wood oven fire pizzas. And so I gave them those 3 suggestions with saying, like, this wood fire pizza place is my favorite in the town. And they specifically came back afterwards and found me to thank me for that suggestion. They said it was fantastic. They really enjoyed it. So I was just like, that made me happy. No, the other reason I've decided to call this video Grab Bag is because I did my last video last Wednesday on the first day of my 3-day weekend. And that by far was the day where I just sat and worked on my thesis. And after that, there was a lot of other running around and things for those other 2 days. You know, full well, I now have my G1, which is interesting because it doesn't change anything immediately, but once we actually get a chance, I now legally have the ability to go out and drive and learn how to drive. And that's going to be a thing that's happening. But after that, we did a bunch of other running around on both days. And so I've sort of got a grab bag of things that I picked up. So we did my G1, and then we went to the bookstore, the chapters, specifically because I went looking for this, which is Joseph Campbell's A Hero with 1,000 Faces, which is one of the big mythology ones about sort of the monomyth. And I'm hoping this is going to help me with my introduction for my thesis. So I knew I wanted to find it, and our local chapters had exactly one in stock. And now that I've looked, they've actually got quite a few Joseph Campbell ones. I have their Arthurian one, which I've used for a different paper. So specifically went looking for this one. And then while we were there, I picked up another one. I picked up another Bernard Cornwell for lighter reason. And this is part of his Viking series, which I've really enjoyed. Not that my shelves look like it, because I think I've got one other Bernard Cornwell up there, possibly. Not even. No, I don't think so, because I think they're all in storage. I never had any when I was up doing my MA. And the books here are only MA books, those that I've specifically pulled out of storage, or new ones. So this is the first Bernard Cornwell on this shelf. So I got that one. And then set up at the, like, cache outside, before we headed outside, were these cute little tote bags. So I picked up Lit Happens. And it's super cute. I love it. Also, there's my cat, who has decided me talking to a camera requires her involvement, considering she woke me up at 3 this morning. In the mornings, we're not always friends. But then I get home from work and she wants all the cuddles, which apparently includes now. Yeah, so we did the bookstore, and then the next place we went, oh goodness, where else did we go? We stopped by the bank. My mother actually did, like, a lot of the running around we already had to do, because I was waiting to do my G1 test. So she had already gone to the fabric store because she wanted to pick something up, and the next place, which is, they have something like the Clay Cafe here. Actually, very much like the Clay Cafe, because I recognize a lot of the paint names, and so I've just been craving the ability to go and paint ceramics, which I couldn't do during my MA. There was nothing like that, and when I found out there was something here, I was like, look, I need to go. So I'd gone before this 3-day weekend and painted another tile, because you know my tile collection, and my mother had painted a mug, and the mug looks fantastic, by the way, but it's currently dirty, so I won't pull her dirty mug in, but she had gone to pick up our pieces. There was a bit of a delay, so we hadn't picked them up. It had been over a week, and she had picked up the pieces. So we went to Chapters, we went to the bank, and then we found a chip truck nearby and went and got fries, which were very good, a little salty, but for available chip trucks nearby, currently it's on my list. Not too greasy, so that's nice. And then we briefly stopped off at home because she'd also picked up another rose. Our patio is a growing garden, and I might go out and get a few shots of our growing garden out there, but she'd picked up another rose. So before we went and did other running around, we went and actually, you know, stopped by the house and brought everything in, which included the clay pieces. The clay pieces had already been packed up, so she didn't see it at all. So she decided, let's do an unveiling. And so I wasn't happy with my previous King Arthur tile, because I had just done that one of the days when I was the only one in Fredericton and I was feeling really down, and I just did it at random. It wasn't well planned. So I wanted to do another King Arthur tile. So I am very proud of this one. It's a sword in the stone with the anvil in between, because no one remembers that the sword is actually in an anvil in the stone. And then it was looking very blank, so I added some stained glass windows to the church behind it, because it is in the churchyard in the major Arthurian tales. So I am very happy with how that turned out. So we got to unveil those, and Mom and I love them so much, she was like, please can we go back tomorrow? Which was the last day of my 3-day weekend, and I was like, yes. And those pieces are due to be done after 1 tomorrow. Like, actual now tomorrow. So, fingers crossed. And then we went to the town where I'm actually working. So we grabbed the last of the fries and we drove out to the town where I'm actually working, specifically to pick up this. So it's a very pretty bracelet, but it's actually magnetic. And Mom picked one up at a market here in town. And it's supposed to help with arthritis and pains, and Mom is currently swearing by it. And I've been borrowing hers because I'm having a lot of problems with my left wrist right now. Between work and doing Tai Chi and yoga in the mornings. What? I've been borrowing hers because it has been helping. It hasn't made the pain disappear. It hasn't made the aches disappear, but it does seem to have lessened it. So I don't know if it's actual science behind it. I don't know if it's the placebo effect. Frankly, I don't care because it has been helping. So I went and got one myself, and Mom picked up an anklet that she can actually wear while she's working, because she can't wear the bracelet because she works at a station that is mostly metal, and you do stick to everything. I actually found out that all the corners... Stop that! You don't need to claw at my dresser. All the corners in the apartment actually have metal in them because I've stuck to the walls. And then from there we went down because there's a shoe store that she swears by, and we went down and I got a new pair of sandals. Because those silvery flip-flops finally went bust, and turns out I can't just buy another cheap pair. So I got a good pair of sandals now, which is nice. And then we stopped at the grocery store quickly there, and she was like, I really need a drink, so I'm going to go to the McDonald's. And I was like, can you just drop me off at the dollar store, because I might as well do the rest of my shopping really quickly. I picked up a book of Sudoku, but then the other thing I picked up was another one of these notebooks. So just a quick thin notebook, because my second one, so this would be my third, but my second one is almost full with eagles, which I'm sort of thinking I might switch over to crows and do eagles as the last one, because I recently hit what I thought was going to be the end of that book, and it turns out it's not even half as long as the first one was. So I was like, well, I want all of these to match relatively in length. So I've rearranged some things, and I'm gonna go into some more events in the second one that I was thinking were going to be in the third, because I took a look at the plan for the third, and there's a section that I really should expand more. So, like, I think I've got it figured out, but I hit that point and I was like, oh, what have I done? I think I've got it solved. But I'm running out of space in the notebook, so new notebook. And I was like, yeah, I'm just going to do my shopping. Might as well do it all in one day. And that's what I did. And then that night, Mom had to work, but I'll point out my plant out there. But I've been wanting something for my room. It's currently not in my room because it actually really needs sun, and my room does not get a whole lot of sun. Which, I mean, right now is fine because I work most days anyway, so it's not like I'm here past 8 in the morning. So my mother picked me up an African violet. It originally started with me pointing to some cactuses with Dad and saying, I think I might pick myself up one of those. I wouldn't mind some greenery in my room. Mom and Dad, when they got the flowers, picking up an African violet. It needs to get repotted, so Mom picked me up a terracotta pot, and while she was at work that night, I went funky. So, just regular terracotta pot, and it's just one layer of each, so some of the paint is pretty see-through, but it's going to sit outside anyways, and it's for my African violet, which I named Petunia. Because, I'm good at this. Now, so, funky pot, hoping to get that repotted maybe tomorrow. And then the next day we had to do some further running around, just basically stopping by the storage unit, which is like actually quite a far drive. We don't have a storage unit here in the town. We're actually closer to where my parents originally lived. We went out there and then came back and went to the clay spot again, and I did 2 more tiles, which we're due to pick up soon. And I'll show those off when we get them, if they turn out. No, I did 2 because neither of them were as elaborate as this. I had references for them because they were from a show. This, like, I just went at it as well as I could. And my mother got a little garden gnome to hang out of one of the pots. So I knew she was going to take longer time, so I did 2 of these tiles. So hopefully those have turned out. But yeah, it's been a grab bag of a week. I basically just did a whole video because work is work. And it's gonna stay work, and I'll just deal with all the stress and anxiety as I can. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that we stopped in the bookstore in the town I work in, and I got a 3rd book on Cleopatra. And it is more of biography, not like a historical fiction. So that's exciting. Now, if I have to deal with stress by doing things artistic or doing some reading, I am okay with doing that, doing some writing. This is going to be how I deal with all the stress and anxiety and not nice feelings, is to create, and I will not complain about that. So yeah, we're gonna see how the rest of this week goes. There's a big event on Saturday, which is due, like, we need to arrive there at like 8:45 because the museum opens at 9. It usually closes at 5, but the event's barbecue starts at 5. So it's just gonna be a long day. But I have the Friday before off, so I've just decided I'm just gonna sleep the entire day. Because as interesting as this hall is, and artistic as I got to be, I didn't really have a lot of time for like just relaxing and sleeping. And the fact that Tiggs has been waking me up so consistently very early and getting earlier, like, I'm not getting enough sleep. So this one day, 6-day work week, 1 day off, and then I have 3 days, which include that big event day, and then I have a day off, a day on, 2 days off, because I only have the 1 day off this week, which is this Friday. So they usually try and give you 2 a week. If you only get 1 in 1 week, you'll usually get 3 the next week. These 3 don't line up. The previous 3 didn't either, but I switched out with somebody. I'm not sure I'm going to bother trying to switch out this time around unless somebody else really wants to. I'll just take the 1 day on, 1 day off, 1 day off, 1 day on, 2 days off, and go for it. Because that 1 day off, again, I'll probably just sleep. Maybe play some video games. I really want to play Harvest Moon, but I'd want a bigger block of time for it. And in the evenings, I don't necessarily have that bigger block of time. Like, we get in, I eat supper right away, I help with cleanup, or watch the news, or make a video. Also, do you like my hair? This has got to be my favorite hairstyle so far. It's a ponytail that my mother's braided, and I've got 7 braids in that thing. So, it's fun. I think I want to be Medusa for Halloween. Yeah, I think this video has probably gone on long enough of me just showing you stuff. So I'll talk to you later. Creativity! CRH. So this is our garden. So we've got 3 window boxes, plus the extra flowers, plus my African violet, which probably needs some watering, and then Mum's rose. I'm gonna go figure out how often I need to water this African violet named Petunia. Now I'll actually see you.